Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Road to 1000 Dueling Book Rating. So once again, we're going to be taking a look at Paleo Frog, because this is just my signature deck. I won't be revealing the deck list for this. The most recent one that I posted was pretty recent, so you guys should go check that out. But this is different because I am playing like Solemn Warning and stuff like that. Anyways, so I have 3 matches for you guys today, and this first one is up against Harpies. So we start off with a normal summon of Swap Frog, sending run-in, bounce back to hand, discard itself, and then send another run-in, banish for Ronin, and overlay for Toad. So we have quite a bit of follow-up here because we have the Canadia Warning and Canadia set. Or it's Canadia, Olinodes, and Warning. Sorry about that. So in standby phase, we just Toad, and like at this point, we have 4 interruptions that we can do in our opponent's turn. And so he goes with the Compulse, and he sets Compulse on the Normal's Channeler and uses the effect. And we hit it with the Solemn Warning because you can special summon from your deck. So we can actually Solemn Warning this. So we pay 2,000 life points and negate it. In the end phase, we go ahead and Olinodes hit the back row, and from here he's kind of stuck because we can just Boral Sword out to game this next turn, so he scoops up the game. Moving into game number 2, I believe he takes first this time, drawing into double Harpies Featherstorm, which is fine because it doesn't really do a whole lot. So Channeler's going to go ahead and discard Harpist to search for the Perfumer, which adds Egotist to hand. Egotist is going to allow him to special Harpy Lady Sisters from deck, and then I believe Harpist is going to trigger an end phase and also allow him to search, if I remember. Yeah, add a Ring Beast with 1500 or less attack, and he sets the Featherstorm as well. So he's going to search for a Perfumer, and then from here, he draws for turn. I draw for turn, and he just goes ahead with a Harpies Featherstorm, which is interesting because I didn't even have any monsters. So we go with a Pot of Desires. We banish the top 10 cards of our deck, drawing into another copy of Desires and a Swap Frog. Pretty rough, but that's okay because we have a discard for Dynamis just now, so we can just set 5 and pass. We don't want to normal summon the Swap Frog because of Featherstorm. It'll just get negated or whatever, so it's not worth it. He's going to switch everything to attack mode, use Perfumer, and I believe you can try to attempt to add a Harpies Pillar Trap. And we go ahead and hit it with a Solemn Strike. Then I believe he uses Channeler, discarding a Harpy Lady number 1, going for another copy of Perfumer, attempting to use the effect here, but it has the use clause right here, and so use and activate, I don't think you guys can actually see it on the screen, but it definitely has a use clause right here that you can't actually activate Perfumer twice. You can't have it get negated then activate it again. It's like the gadgets, the like silver gold gadget. It's also like Shadow Mist. Like if it gets negated, you can't activate it again. Anyways, he goes for a Great Fly and then this Fouling Spike, which gives it like 900 attack for each card in the graveyard that is a same name. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he gains 4,500 attack. Crazy. Plus the Great Fly's attack. So this thing is sitting up at 6,400. I didn't even know this card existed. Absolutely crazy. He goes into battle phase, and I believe we just Canadia it. Just flip the face down. The equip card falls off. Pretty good. He attacks with Great Fly, which we hit with the Dynamistus. And then we chain the Canadia. We discard the Desires because it's not useful after this. We hit the Harpy Lady Sisters with a Crackdown and chain our Dynamistus, and he scoops it up because at this point he can't really do much. I mean, I guess he could Featherstorm, but you know, I mean, no, you can because you don't have a face-up Harpy. I believe he flipped summon this turn. I don't know. He could just flip it back, but then we could just bounce it back to hand anyways. So that's gonna be it for our first game. Moving on into match number 2, we were playing against Shaddolls. So, yeah. Also, I do want to mention here that I did lose a lot of rating because I was trying out a ton of decks and they were bad decks, and yeah, I lost a lot of rating. Anyways, so he goes with Mathman, sends Squamata, and Squamata sends Beast to draw a card, draws into Shaddol Fusion, and discards a Squamata and a Hedgehog, so he can use Hedgehog's effect to search for a Shaddol Falco. Sorry. Ugh. I'm a little tired right now, if you couldn't tell. Anyways, he sits Called by the Grave and passes his turn. I draw for turn, normal swap frog, use the effect, send Ronin, bounce back to hand, go for a desires so I don't banish the Ronin for later. Although I do believe I banish a Ronin off of this desires right here, which I do. That's too bad. We draw out 2, and then we go ahead with a set 5 pass. He goes for turn. Goes on a battle phase. I believe we Book of Moon the Winda. And then we take the 15. Olenoides is going to hit the back row. And then he's going to chain it to hit the Ronin. We're going to compulse back the Winda and chain Arcanadia. And then we're also going to crack down, take Mathman, and I guess I forget to trigger Olenoides here. I should have, though. That was my mistake. We go for a Swap Frog, and at this point we know both of our Ronins are banished, so there's no reason to send off Swap Frog. It just gets rid of normal summons. So, and at this point I kind of need the normal summons. We strike this Falco here, and it goes into his standby phase, and we use Toad's effect to special Dupe Frog from deck. He sets a Hedgehog, and we use Toad to summon Swap Frog from deck. Next, we normal summon the Dupe Frog, so now he's under Dupe Block, and we can attack with the Toad. He uses Hedgehog's effect, which we chain Toad to negate, attributing our Swap Frog, and we're going to set the Hedgehog to our field. And then we're going to attack for 200 damage. So much, they're so big. We're going to set the Goats and pass our turn, and he scoops up the game. Going into game number 2, I believe he lets us go first. And it's very obvious why. So if you can't see the thing that's about to happen, it's going to be rough. So we set 4 cards and pass, and he hits us with the Lightning Storm, which we Judgment, and then he even lays us. So then he goes for Mathman, which we hit with an Ash, but he called by the Gravesit. And at this point, I believe he confused into Construct, summon back Falco, Surge. You know, he's getting all these searches for lots of stuff, making IP Masquerena. Like he can make Unicorn on his turn. I draw Goats, but like at this point, like I'm just gonna scoop. Like there's no reason, because he's gonna like Unicorn my back row, and I could tell that already. So we start again, and we go with the Desires. Fortunately for us, he did not draw Lightning Storm or Evenly Matched. We draw into a Judgment and a Ronin, set 5 pass, or actually we set 4 pass. He draws Lightning Storm for a turn, and so we hit that with the Judgment. He normals the Mathman, which we strike, and now we're pretty low, but that's okay. We have 2 Canadias set, so he's going to fuse Dragon and Hat Trigger into a Shekanaga. Then he's going to use Dragon to target this back row, so we chain it, targeting Shekanaga, flipping it face down, and then it's our turn. So we draw into Border, so we're going to normal the Border and pass our turn. And then on his turn, he's going to flip summon it, and go into the battle phase and attempt to attack. And we're just going to, in battle phase, shuffle back the Shekanaga, chaining our Canadian to summon itself. And he passes the turn to us. We set the Strike and the Ronin and attack for 32. And it's his turn. He draws Super Poly. So he normals the Shaddolls Dragon, which we attempt to Canadia, and he chains Super Poly here. Going into a El Shaddolls Construct, he actually uses his chain links incorrectly. He goes Dragon chainlink 1 and then Construct chainlink 2, so we strike it. So I don't know what he was thinking. He could have done it the other way around and won the game, but that's perfectly fine with me. And then he goes with a search with Shaddolls Fusion. We draw for turn, we draw into Inspector Border, flip summoning our Ronin Toadin and overlaying into Toad. Battle phase, we attack for 22, and then pass our turn, we Toad into Dupe Frog, and from here he just sets 2, and then we can Toad effect and summon the Swap Frog, and then send the Ronin, and then normal the Swap, send the Dupe, link off into Phoenix, destroy the back row. Like, it's just free win at this point, because like he just has a damage juggler, which is nothing pretty much. Because we're gonna link everything off into a sword, and he just scoops it up here. We also can normal summon our Border, and like, you know, we still have tons of plays. We still could have made a Toad. I didn't actually realize that I had both Ronins in grave, but I could have made a Toad. So Always check your graveyard. That's the moral of the story. Anyways, moving on into our match number 3, we are playing against Subterror Guru. So, very crazy. He goes with a Pot of Extravagance, banishing the top 10 cards, drawing into... His hand's pretty rough, honestly, but he sets 4 and passes. It looks like he had 2 final battles, and Called by the Grave, and an Imperm. So we go ahead with a set 5 pass, and he flips over the Archer. It's fine. Then I go to Canadian, flip it, and then he uses Umastrix, which I hit with a strike. Then he uses Final Battle to flip his Archer back and attacks again. And then we go ahead and take the damage. He uses the Final Battle and damage step to increase it to 3,000. Then we use Trap Trick, chaining our Canada, which he hits with the DD Crow. Pretty rough. Then we go for Olinoides and we hit the Final Battle because we don't want to deal with that. We set the Ronin and the Scapegoat and pass our turn. He goes with the Hidden City Search Guru, and at this point, like, I know he has a negate, and his Nemesis Archer is going to shuffle back my Ronin, so it's not even worth it at this point, so I just scoop it up right here. Going into game number 2, we're playing behind, so it's pretty rough. Looks like he drew an Evenly, 2 Tikaboos, a Guru, and an Ash, so I believe he ashes me here. Kind of rough. But he was lagging a little bit. Anyways, we set Judgment and Dynamistress and pass our turn. He draws, goes into battle phase, evenlies me, which I hit with a Judgment, and he sets 3 cards face down, it looks like, and normal summons Guru. So at this point, I realize, like, he's gonna have a final battle set, because if I attack into this, he's gonna flip the final battle and it's over. Like, I'm gonna lose. So I just decide to set this Heavy Storm Duster, and then we go. He goes into battle phase, and we go ahead and activate our Heavy Storm Duster, targeting the final battle as well as the Tikaboo, and he chains the final battle, going ahead and making Guru 3,400, which is fine because now we're just gonna go ahead and use our Dynamistress to banish it. So it really didn't do a whole lot. Pretty good for us, honestly. Next, we draw for turn. We draw the Ash. We hit him for 2,000, and we pass our turn. He draws Pot of Extravagance, which I mistakenly actually Ash here, which I couldn't. He drew 2 copies, or he drew his next copy of There Can Be Only One, which is whatever. I return the Ash back to hand, obviously. We draw for turn, and we draw into Olinoides, which we attack with the border directly. Then it's back to him. He draws Hidden City for turn, which we hit with the Olinoides, obviously. Bringing back the Dynamistress that was in our graveyard. And at this point, I am playing around There Can Only Be One, which is pretty great. We go into battle phase, and we attack for 3,200, bringing him down to a total of 800 life points. We set the warning and pass our turn. He draws Guru, normal summoning it, and we hit it with the warning. And at that point, he just scoops it up. Going into game number 3 at this point, he decides to go first, actually. So he draws a pretty bad hand. He breaks pretty hard. So he goes with a Duality, and he picks up the Cosmic Cyclone, which is fine. And then I believe he just sets 2. It looks like Cosmic and Infinite Permanence. We go into battle phase, and we evenly matched him. And it was probably a mistake for me to side in the evenly matched. I don't think it was a very smart play on my part, but that's okay. He banishes the Cosmic Cyclone and leaves the Impermanence. We go ahead and set 4 and pass our turn. Draw for turn, he draws into a Call by the Grave. Actually, he doesn't shuffle his deck. He shows me, and like we can check the logs. Like, he definitely did not shuffle his deck. Anyways, he shuffles his deck and actually draws Storm Duster, which is fine. Goes ahead and uses Pot of Desires, and he picks up the Guru, I believe, here. Yep. And then he goes ahead and uses Storm Duster, or sets the Storm Duster and the Guru. So in end phase, we Olinoides hit the new set, which is Storm Duster. We have the strike for the Guru. We're pretty set. We pass it back to him, and he flip summons it, and we hit it with the strike. paying 1,500 life points. He sets the Cosmic Cyclone, which I believe Illinoides here, just pop it, and chain the Illinoides in our graveyard. And next, we go ahead and in our turn, we go for a Trap Trick, and we chain the Illinoides, which I believe he hits it with a DD Crow here. So we set Dynamis just from our deck. I was originally going to set Storm Duster, hit the last back row, but it didn't matter. So we're going to go with a Illinoides attack directly for 12, pass our turn, and I believe he draws Hidden City for turn. Oh, no, he draws Extravagance, which is crazy, again. We hit with that with the Solemn Judgment, obviously. He passes it back to us, and we draw into Storm Duster. So we attack directly with Illinoides. He takes 12, set the Storm Duster, and we pass our turn. He draws Hidden City here, which I think it's better for us to go ahead and use the Dynamis just here, discarding the Evenly, just because it fills our graveyard with a Paleo. It's probably, like, it could be good to, like, Storm Duster here, but I think, like, the Dynamis just putting the Paleo in grave is just better in general. So we just banish it. Going to our turn, we normal summon Dupe Frog that we drew for turn, overlay into a Toad, and at this point we can attack directly for 22, pass it back to him, he draws for turn, draws a Called by the Grave, and at this point, like, he could Impermanence and then, like, Called by the Grave. I think he should have done that. I don't know why he didn't, but he just scoops it up, so I don't understand what he was really thinking there. He really should have just chained Impermanence, and then I probably would have Toad negated, and then he would have Called by the Graved it, but I don't know what his like idea was, but I think, like, out of a top deck war, I'm pretty sure I would have won, because, like, I have Storm Dusters to deal with whatever back row he had left, and, like, I did have the draw as well. Like, I think it was a pretty solid game overall. So yeah, a little bit of a shorter episode this time. That's kind of like a good thing, I guess. So I hope you guys actually did enjoy. If you enjoy these, like, make sure to leave a like, leave a comment, tell me what decks you guys want me to see playing, you want to see me to play, you know. Can't speak right now, it's like midnight, you know. Anyways, expect another episode. I'm going to be testing my teammates decks for the 3v3 YCS, so hopefully I'll be doing another Road to 1000 with that deck specifically, those decks that they are playing. So yeah, with that said, I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you guys later.